we're back again with another episode of Red Hill Racing Podcast. I am Ben Knight here once again with your co-host, Mr. Dustin Lee, Mr. 40 Time. What's happening?
Bald eagles everywhere. What's up,
Perfect.
everybody?
Perfect. No, that's you. I'm gonna play that next time we're at a race together, and inevitably when I go out early, I'm gonna be up there like playing like bald eagles, screeching as you kind of like
America.
get ready in the staging lanes. Be real productive.
Just like on Talladega Nights, I'm a big, hairy winning machine.
That's right. That's right. Well, we teased about it last week, and we made it happen tonight. We had
An awesome interview.
Yeah,
Awesome.
well, we think it was awesome, so we hope y'all enjoy it.
Yeah.
But we did. We got the man, the myth, the new Gator Nationals champ and leading pro stock motorcycle points in NHRA, Gaige Herrera. We got him on tonight for about an hour-long interview. And he touched everything from some of his background to the, excuse me.
Man, you'll hear all about it.
Sorry, I went to sneeze. I didn't, but
you'll hear all about from like just his history of his family, and it was unbelievable that Gaige is literally surrounded by NHRA, like in drag racing, of course, too. But everything, and you'll hear all about it. And it's that we, of course, me and Ben would talk between and talk and ask questions as we continued on the story, but it was a lot of information for people that don't know who Gaige is, but you're about to find out, who Gaige is.
We tried to do it like that, or we hope to kind of, give the listeners, you guys, just some background on Gaige. And, obviously Dustin and I, we had a hell of a time. We enjoyed ourselves. Just because, Gaige is a friend of ours. So it was just chatting.
Yeah, he laughed a lot more in our interview tonight than he did on TV. For sure.
For sure. So we hope y'all enjoy that. Housekeeping stuff, and we got
not safe for work.
That's what I was gonna say, because I just said something. So not safe for work. Sorry, guys and girls, we're gonna let some profanity fly.
It happens. We people, it just happens.
Just who we is.
Yep.
So I'm gonna run down our awesome sponsor and supporter list. Dustin just informed me that we have another awesome giveaway by Mike Burkhart of BMF Components. He sent Dustin. What did he send you, Dustin?
He sent me a carbon fiber seat pan for a Hayabusa. They have the flares in the back for like a Gen 2 Busa, but I have customers that's bought the same seat pan from me that use them on a Gen 1, so it should work on Gen 1 and Gen 2. Super nice. I actually ordered some for stock, and he sent one for me to give away. So we'll probably give that away maybe next week or the next. It's a pretty giveaway, $200 something deal there. So it's of course it's super nice. It's lightweight, carbon fiber seat pan.
Yeah. So shout out to Mike and BMF Components. That was just awesome. And, grateful for him and just doing that. We didn't ask. He just sent it to Dustin. So, he's already given away a complete carbon fiber tank shell, and that's at 10,000 downloads. You get to choose between that and Kevin's short frame service at Manchester Mines, or a set of energy coils.
So we have like the the $50 gift certificate giveaways, and then we got shirts. Of course, we give away sometimes, and then we have like the medium value of a seat pan.
Awesome. That's awesome. So of course, BMF Components, University of Wind, Energy Coil, Night Marketing Group, the Hard Times Parts and Service, Montgomery Motorsports, Manchester Mines, Platinum General Services, MTC Engineering, Penske Racing Shocks, MPS Racing, and Worldwide Bearings. And also
oh God, it won't stop.
It won't stop.
We're that happy. Woo-hoo!
And look, you guys did what I think it was last week, right? Was it last episode where everybody like signed up and subscribed and got in?
Yeah, we got a bunch of new ones.
Yeah, so we appreciate the support. As always, that's how you get in these giveaways. It only takes $1. You can sign up on the website or go to the Patreon link we have posted and everything. But that's all it is. $1 a month, and you could win prizes up to, a Penske shock. So
just donate how you feel.
Yeah. And we had last week, we had our first more than $1 a month giveaway, and Chris donates
Winner. Yeah.
yeah, he does $5 a month, and he got him a $50 gift certificate to MTC. So that was
Yeah,
cool.
that
He's
was
excited.
emailed to me and you, I think Monday, wasn't it? I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Yeah.
What's today? No, I don't know. But yeah,
Tuesday,
yeah, I just
Tuesday.
seen it.
Yeah.
Just seen
Yep.
it. So but hey, we're super excited about this interview. And then man, my not my little baby, but my other baby, the University of Win. I'm stoked. We're gonna fire it up this Friday, everybody. So if you've been waiting patiently for it, we appreciate it. I'll say this, it's not done, but it's never going to be done. So, you know, right now we're going to have some lessons and courses that I will be adding, at first, probably every week. And then it'll go to, adding some courses and lessons every month. But it's, Dustin and I were talking, it's just time. Racing season's getting ready to go full force. And, we've promised everyone a good program. I think we're really close to being, everywhere I want it to be. And I know it's going to be a great program. So Dustin took some time over the weekend and reviewed it. And I don't know,
Yeah.
tell him what you thought.
I think it looked great. Heck, I might learn some things in there that I wasn't aware of. I plan on reading every bit of it myself just to make sure, because there's some things on there that was from Luke that I didn't, I've never read. So I'm going to read them, of course. I looked over everything. Everything looks good. I'm really excited about the forum side of
Yeah.
it, because
Mhm.
we can all communicate on the forum together. And there might be times, and I really prefer people in the, that signs up to ask questions in the forum. One reason being there might be another person that has the same question and it's
Yeah.
there. And it kind of helps a little bit of the repeat, questions just for me and Ben's sake. And then it's always good to discuss with, because other people in the class or the school can communicate. So you might have a scenario and one of the students could give you an answer, and then me and Ben come in and back it up and be like, yeah, that's exactly right. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a community.
Yep.
Well, we're all probably going to end up being friends. I mean, I'm pretty friendly. Um, it's going to be cool. I think what I'm more excited about, and I know what's going to happen, is someone that signs up and we help them win. That's what I'm thirsting for. Like, that's exactly what I crave. And when that happens, it's going to be the best thing ever. And I'm hoping that when it does happen, that, the person that does go out and do well and maybe calls or messages us or something and tells us, what they did.
Oh,
Because,
I'm sure they will.
yeah, I mean, that, like for me and you, that's almost like, the challenge is the goal to make someone better, right? So
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
when they do that, that's going to be, us reaching a goal for ourselves. And like everything else to me, I'm not really worried about it, but I just want to reach that. I cannot wait until, like, I know it's going to happen. I just can't wait till that first
Yeah.
person is like, man, it's just thanks to Dustin and Ben, because look, me and Ben help each other. There's times that we have to like
Oh
spit
my
ideas at
goodness.
each other all the time. So I know that just communicating with us is going to be beneficial. I know it is. So I just can't. I'm so excited for it. I can't wait. Like it's
Well,
almost like the start of a race season for
I
me. Like
know.
when, and not so much the, just everything else, like the teaching you and talking to you and giving you scenarios and stuff that we're going to talk about is normal life for me. But I just can't wait to see the people that's doing it put it into action and go out there and get results. That's what I'm thirsting for on the whole deal more than
Well,
anything.
I couldn't have really said that any better. I mean, that's what Dustin and I have been talking about. That's our number one priority, and that's what we're looking forward to is just to see, each member improve. And that might be for one member, just turning on a couple win lights a weekend, and for another member that's getting their first win, and then another member, getting 2 wins. So we're just super stoked about that. And like I said, that's kind of one of the reasons, we just said we're going to fire this thing up this week. I mean, it's
I'm also excited to just do a video on a Gen 2 clutch. And it's only going to be for the people that's in the school. Like, I'm
yeah,
not posting it on Facebook or anything else. I'm going to post this on the school, and that's going to be a perk for people, is to be
yeah,
able to. I'm going to try to help people understand the clutch and what the clutch does and things you think that you need, but it's not what you just try to do some simple basics of how the clutch works on the Gen 2 clutch,
yeah.
and then probably do a little bit of slider stuff later. I got something in the works for the slider stuff that I'm kind of waiting on before I start doing that. But I'm definitely going to do those. I'm excited to do the video because I get a lot of questions on the daily basis, and I'm hoping
Right.
that I can refer those people to the school to help them in the race scenario and to get some clutch knowledge. I've worked really hard on learning these contraptions, and I've got pretty good at setting them up. I had a bunch of videos I posted last week off the trailer PBs for two people, and the bike's daily consistent. And that's exactly what I tune. I don't tune them to be the fastest. I tune them to be repetitive and the clutch life,
Right.
because we're bracket racers, we're sportsman racers. We're not trying to set records. We're trying. Now I can make them fast, but my main concern is to have something for people to go race and not worry about breaking parts and having to work on their bike. They want to have fun. That's what I shoot for.
Right. And everything Dustin just told, you guys and girls is 100%. That's the role that we kind of scripted out for Dustin. I wanted his role in the school to be, definitely more interactive as far as like answering questions and helping with clutch tune up, since that's definitely an expertise of his, bike tune up or, setup questions. So really, I feel like Dustin's going to just be a critical component as far as on the forum
I have my
and
own little
even,
forum in
yeah.
there. Like I have my own little
Yep.
area that I can just nestle up inside and hang out with everybody.
That's right. We got Dustin a clutch section in the forum at the side forum. So just to run over it real quick for those that aren't familiar, or maybe you're just hearing about it. I guess I don't know, but so we've basically created an online school, and it's a membership program. You can either pay per month or we'll have a yearly deal as
For
well.
the do you have the prices set on this? Because these I get a lot of questions about
Yeah,
that.
so here's the deal. I haven't even changed them. Dustin and I decided just yesterday or maybe even
Yeah,
today.
yeah.
So look, and I gotta start at the beginning. Here's the thing. Here's the thing with this school. You can't just decide you're gonna throw a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. You can't learn to throw a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Like there are certain things in certain sports that require an actual skill, talent, genetics, like that is. But luckily for us, racing ain't one of them. I mean, it just isn't. Like bracket racing is something that is completely learnable. It is teachable and it is learnable. So, you know, maybe you've been racing for a couple of years and you're just kind of stuck there with like, I'm just not doing well. Well, this is probably for you then, because we can teach you. Now, that being said, I'll get into the details of the school. The actual learning part are written courses, so you'll be reading them, in audio courses, and then we'll also have some video. But for every written lesson, there's also an audio version. So if you don't want to read it, that's fine. You can listen to it. But there is some, it's required on your part to do some work. So that'll be the first main step of this, and that's going through the lessons,
And I
listening
have
to
to
them,
read them
reading them.
too to know the to help you guys. Like I can't
Well,
just not read them.
I'm
Yeah.
scared about Dustin learning more shit, so I'm sorry, y'all, but, I'm sorry if we create him. I don't even know how
So
you could get any better,
I
but
gotta find time to read them too, guys. But
yeah,
I
yeah,
do
he'll
need to read
listen.
them. The good thing is I know bracket racing. I
Yeah,
know index racing. Yeah, there's some probably things that I can learn, and I'm always wanting to learn. But the questions I feel like that's going to be asked, I can help
yeah.
before I even read it.
Oh,
So
for sure, and, so that's the main part is once you're a member, you have access to all the, lessons. Right now, I think, by the time this launches on Friday, I should have right about 25 lessons, and that includes, Mr. Luke Bogacki's lessons, which are critical. We worked out a great deal with him. He's a mentor and coach of mine.
yeah, just so
So
y'all know what great deal means, we had to pay for those dudes because they
well,
were a
right,
great
yeah.
basis for what we wanted to do.
Yeah, and there was no way I was gonna even attempt to rewrite those. So, yeah, so shout out to Luke. Appreciate him working with us on that. But yeah, so that's the first major thing of the school is you'll be having access to all the written and audio and video tutorials. We should have about 25 of those ready on Friday, close to it. And then, like I said, I'll be adding lessons probably weekly at first, and then it'll go to monthly. But I'd say by the end of the year, we'll have, I don't know, 40, 50. So it's going to be continuous. And then as Dustin already touched on, we have a private forum set up on the site. Once you're logged in and subscribed, you can access that. That's where, I mean, you could really, you can create your own topic there, but we also have topics made and we'll create some more. But, you know, this
I'm the
is where,
most excited about
yeah,
that.
yeah,
I am.
like I said, that's the area where, and Dustin did touch on this well, so I'm not going to take too much time, but that's where we really are going to start building this community because we want to build a community. So, you know, there's going to be some racers that sign up that are going to be advanced, you know, so they'll be able to supply good information. This is where you can ask questions about lessons that you've read or listened to, you know, bring up a race scenario, anything you want. This is a private forum for you, and we're going to answer the questions. So that's the second part. And the third main component, which is kind of a piggyback on this, we're going to do weekly Zoom meetings with all our members, and it's going to be private. You have to be a member, signed up and subscribe for it. But this is just another, you know, avenue where you can ask questions, listen to people talk about race scenarios, anything you want. You know, we'll have some structured meetings, but really our biggest thing is it's one thing to read through our lessons and listen to the courses and all, but if you don't fully understand them, or you know, if we can give you an example, where that's where the forum and the weekly calls come in. So that's a big part. And there's other things. I mean, gosh, we got $3,500 in giveaways from Ralphie Navarro and Platinum General Services, giving away a complete Vanson custom suit at the end of the year. Ralphie also donated an AGV carbon fiber helmet that's about $1,000. And those are just the big giveaways. I mean, we're doing weekly cash giveaways, monthly cash giveaways. You know, still working on this part, but we already have a couple working on some discounts from manufacturers and companies to try and pass along some savings to y'all. So anyways, long story short, we've worked hard. We think we've packed a ton of value in it. And then the next big question is, how much is it? So I started in there and then I said, well, I got to tell the whole spiel. Originally, you know, when we first set out for this, we were kind of had a price point in mind. And then we brought that down a little bit and we settled on $75 a month or a deal 500 for the year. Well, we talked and we're not going to do that. We want to get more students in here and you know, absorbing and create this community. You know, we can't have a community if 3 people sign up. So we lowered it, and this is only for this year, for 2023. We're going to do $50 a month, and I haven't even worked out the yearly deal, but it's going to be a discount if you sign up for the, you know, the year. And I will say this, we're going to change the prices next year. 2024, they're going up to, you know, the $75 at least.
I just want to say something. So
well, go ahead.
I know, but just hear me out.
Okay.
So if you sign up for $50 a month for the rest of the year, those people that sign up are going to have a shot to win leathers or a helmet, and there's going to be giveaways. Like I've seen people spend more in a raffle
right
online than that. You know what I'm saying? Like the value is like we're just doing this because we want to get it rolling and get a community, and then start. We're doing it because we want to see somebody learn something and go out there and win. That's what we want, and that's to reach our goal. We just have to just take it down and roll with it. That's exactly what we're doing.
No, I mean, I am glad you interrupted and said that, because Dustin will tell y'all that, you know, I've been anxious, nervous, excited, all the feels the last couple weeks.
This is a new venture for us just as much as it is everybody else. You know what I mean?
Right. But
the only thing that's not new for us is no one racing. That's it.
Right.
Like everything else is all new.
But as Dustin said, like, we know that if you come into this with an open mind and you take, it's going to be successful. Take a lot. But if you take 15 minutes, 30 minutes a day and read a lesson or two, or listen to a lesson or two, you know, post some questions, like, you're going to learn and you're going to do better. And with all the other stuff we have shared, you know, from giveaways and prizes and all, like,
the value is there.
We know the value's there. We know it's there for $100 a month. But as Dustin said, we want to build this community up, and, you know, we want everybody helping each other. So the pricing for this year only is $50 a month. We'll figure out a deal for the year. I'll have that set up, but it'll be a little bit of a discount off, you know, go ahead and pay for the year. And I'll say this, and this goes for any time, whether you sign up this year or next year, whenever you sign up, you are 100% locked in on that rate forever if you continue to subscribe.
Yeah, if you
So
unsubscribe, then you got to resubscribe on the new price.
yeah,
So if you
whatever it
sign
is.
up for the 50 this year and you never let it run out, you will be 50 forever. Even if 2 years from now it's 150, it'll never
Right.
change.
So we did want to mention that, and that's just, I mean, that's just a thank you for the people that are unsure, going out on a limb, maybe
Saying that,
$50 is a lot.
we've done had people say they would sign up right now for the yearly 500. So
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
actually hurting ourselves, but we're just doing it because we want to grow. And the only way you can grow is to get people in here and let them learn what we're saying. We're preaching. We're preaching
yep.
to y'all that this is the truth. And I know that there's going to be students succeed with this.
Yep.
There's no way they're not going to, because me and Ben has basically taught each other stuff, and we have got better through the years. And we're just trying to just give our knowledge and passion, because you got to be passionate about it too. You have to. And if you're not, it's going to be harder, because you got to want to read it. You got to want to learn about it.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can't just
exactly.
sign up and just think it's going to just come through the interwebs to you. You got to push for it. You got to want it. You got to work hard for it. But we're going to help you. That's the,
Well,
we're going to do our part to help you.
and that's a good point. I'm glad you said that too. If you think you're just going to join this and jump on a weekly chat or something and learn, like, no, that's not the case. So
You got to read
don't
all the
even bother.
stuff. And
Yeah.
you don't go to college and not read. You don't go to, you don't go to school and not read your, homework. You gotta put the work in. And I mean, I'm doing it. And to be honest, I don't have time to do it, but I'm going to read every one of them,
Yep.
because, well, what's it going to hurt? It ain't going to hurt nothing, for first of all. And
I'm
also, it's
kind of
going to let
scared
me
you're
be,
reading them.
it's going to make me more familiar with what's going on in this, because Ben's created all this. Like, this has all been,
Yeah.
and I've not read the first one yet, but I want to read it, because then, and I might have to read them multiple times, but because then if you ask a question, I'm like, oh yeah, that was in this one. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And then I'll be aware of what you're asking a question about. Not really necessarily about racing, but just that particular part that you're reading. I mean, it's just like if you go to school and your teacher don't know what you're trying to learn, well, that's not going to work,
Yeah.
So
So yeah, and that's the thing. Think of it like this too. We're building up a library. So even if say you're go through all the lessons in, the first 6 months or whatever. Well, there might be a scenario where you need to go back to the library, and check out or brush up on some stuff. That's kind of what happened to me 2 years ago. I brushed up and started learning again through Luke and working with him, and I 100% won a gambler's race right after, 2 weeks of working with Luke again.
you got to put the work in. You got to want it.
Yeah, so sorry, go ahead.
But I mean, you can't just sign up and just kind of go through and read people just talking, because it's not like a Facebook group where everybody's got opinions. There's going to be actual knowledge, and there's stuff in here that you need to understand and absorb to get it.
Yep.
And once you get it and learn to take, you know, mental stuff to the racetrack, it's going to help. I promise.
100%. So if you got any questions, reach out to us. I posted a YouTube video, University of Win, that should be the handle or whatever on YouTube. It's just an overview. You can kind of see what the site looks like and format wise. So go check that out. And the one last thing is, I I will be absolutely blown away if we reach it, but regardless, we're capping at 100 for this year, no more than 100 members. I don't know if we'll get there, and if we don't, it's not a big deal. If we have 20 members, we're going to keep rocking with y'all. But just letting y'all know it is capped. So we'll
We
keep you
better have
updated.
20. We
We will
better have
keep you
20.
updated if they start filling up, if next week's podcast, if we got 60 members, believe me, we'll be telling y'all there's only 40 spots left. You better jump on them. So we don't want to bore you too much, because we know not everybody is tuned in wanting to listen to bracket
They
racing
want to
talk
hear Gaige talk
yeah,
right
yeah.
now. Is what they want to
So
hear.
well, hey, we do want to do one other thing. So thank y'all for listening to the University of Wind Spout. But we got sponsor spotlight again tonight. Trying to do these take just a couple extra minutes, maybe every other episode or whenever we can, because we appreciate the sponsors supporting this, brand new podcast. The listeners, you guys are huge with the subscriptions and the feedback. It's been phenomenal. And I will say, I'm going to pull it up right now just to verify, but we're edging in closer to our 10,000 download goal, and that's when the other big giveaway will go. So I'll let y'all know we are right at, and this is prior to this launch, we're at right at about 4,300 downloads. So I think with this,
Oh, we're halfway there.
I was gonna say, well, I think Gaige's interview is gonna put us over halfway. So
Oh yeah, for sure.
anyways, well, Dustin, why don't you shout out our sponsor spotlight for tonight, and then we'll get straight into Gaige's interview. So this is someone who jumped on board. I'm not going to go off in a tangent too far, but years ago I put on a race when I worked at Bristol Dragway, and this was one of the first sponsors. It might have been the first, if I recall, and I can't thank them enough because I feel like we've become friends over the years, and it all started then. I mean, I just started getting into bike racing myself, and I put on a race, and that would be MPS Racing. Dan and Beth Rudd, oh my gosh, I love them to death. Dan and Beth, they decided to take a chance on, helping me out with that race when it first kicked off. And I mean, literally ever since, I can personally call up Dan or Beth, and they're always willing to help me out with my racing or anything I got going on. And I really wasn't surprised that they wanted to help out with the podcast, but it's so cool. And I have nothing but great words for them. So, Dustin, give them a little rundown of MPS. You deal with them as well.
Motorcycle Performance Specialties, also known as MPS Racing. Dan is a juggernaut in the drag racing world. He's very innovative. They always are pushing to make new products and try to get new tricks and gizmos for what we do. Anything from electronics, controls, nitrous, standalones. They were actually one of the first people to start doing anything with standalones with MPS.
Well,
Engine part.
I know that's a strong part in your heart. I remember Dan had like a Holly, like before anybody else.
He still got that motorcycle.
I know, but I'm just saying, like that's got to be near and dear to you.
I mean, to be realistic with you, when I got my Holly, Frank that works at MPS he was an angel. Like he helped me every time. I got their plug and play harness, and then I wired everything else up. And if I had questions, Frank was there. I had no idea what I was doing. I'd never done it, And now that I have one, I wired another one. And then everybody knows I was busy. I had Gaige wire the other bike, rewire it for me because I wasn't that good, and I got better on the second one. But they have engine parts, clutch, transmission, chassis components. Accessories. They got these cool 3D funnels that screw into your clutch cover, which is awesome. I use them here in the shop. They have all kinds of services like throttle body boring, cleaning injectors. Like they have probably the most popular air shifter kit in the country. MPS's slogan used to be "Wired to Win." I still say it all the time. They have shift boxes that never fail you. I've been begging them to bring their auto shift box back because they have one of the best old school auto shift boxes they used to that would never let you down. But we just want to give them a little shine, shine the light on them a little bit because they are a huge part in our sport. Dan sponsors damn near every series. He's the Pro ET sponsor and king, and it's well deserved. He is a ET racer at heart itself, but the team there knows all about everything. If you have a standalone question with any of them, they know it or they'll figure it out. They'll grow with you, learn with you if they don't know. But we just want to give them a little shout out. They touch all bases. Anything from bracket racers to standalone big nitrous grudge bikes. There's a lot of times that I'm trying to track down a part and they got it. And I always get it from them if a customer needs it or whatever. They're dear to my heart. They've been great to me. They've allowed me to be a distributor for them, and I'm forever thankful. The bracket race, everybody that has a dialing board on their bike most likely has the MPS dialing board. Like everybody uses their stuff somewhere. So I just want to give them a shout out. I know Dan listens while they're at work, and I hope he enjoys the little shine and maybe it makes him smile. And we appreciate you guys. Without you, drag racing would suffer. So we're forever thankful for MPS being supportive of the sport and our podcast.
Yeah. Couldn't have said it better, my man. Couldn't have said it better. Definitely love MPS. And like I said, they've, been in my corner supporting me for years, literally. And it's awesome. So,
yep.
Man,
I guess it's time for everybody to get ready for the show.
Yeah. Get ready for the interview. we hope you enjoy it because we had fun talking with our buddy. I'm stoked that we're gonna see him soon, so I'm excited about that. But I don't know if you ain't got nothing else. Let's let Mr. Hollywood get on here and tell him what's up.
Yep, here comes Hollywood Herrera, and I'll say something right now. You'll understand it later. Bang, bang, shrimp.
Bang bang. Enjoy. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have our special guest in the house with Dustin and I, and that is your NHRA Pro Stock Motorcycle points leader and the winner of the Gator Nationals. Welcome to the show, Gaige. How you doing?
I'm doing good. And yourself?
Oh, I have no complaints over this side of the world. There's Dustin.
Yeah, I'm here. I was actually trying to make a cheering sound, and I failed. It's all good.
That's all right. I think Gaige was really looking forward to some chickens clucking, but that's okay.
I can find some. I can find them.
Yeah, there we go.
We got cartoon feet and all kinds of stuff on this thing. We can make stuff happen.
Yeah, so I mean, Dustin and I raced with Gaige for the last couple of years at XDA, and I feel like we got to know him pretty well. And I know he definitely put up with my shit plenty of times. So whether we were ever helpful to him or not, that's yet to be determined. But anyways, we got kind of close to Gaige and enjoyed hanging out with him at the racetrack and all. And then over the winter, he got the call for the big show. So why don't you I don't know. First, Gaige, why don't you tell everybody? I mean, your family has a long history. I mean, you don't need to go into every detail, but for the people that aren't, as familiar with you, like Dustin and I are, why don't you just give a brief overview of kind of your family history and how you got into it and all?
Yeah, they need to know who this guy is. Like, who is this guy?
Yeah, we know who you are, but let the listeners know, because believe it or not, Gaige, we've gotten some, listeners outside of what Dustin and I thought it would be. Like I know we've had some street racers and some people up in Canada. So anything.
Canada.
So, yeah,
Dang, you sound like me now.
I know they're probably gonna
That's awesome.
get mad at me for that, but the floor is yours. So if you want to let them know.
All right. Well, I'm fourth generation as far as drag racing. It all started with my great grandfather. Back in the Austin and Opal days. So him and his three sons, they raced all over Hawaii, Florida, Texas. We were based out of Bakersfield, California originally, and then
California knows how to party. Oh, sorry.
Where it all started, right?
Yeah, Bakersfield for sure, right?
Yeah. So then, and then my great grandfather, he worked with Brad Anderson and back in the day. I mean, they did pretty sure they had the first flip body car. I mean, it was still left hand drive, but kind of like started the whole funny car deal, and then transitioned into my dad. My grandfather bought a '68 Camaro. Tried to keep my dad off motorcycles, but he put him on a dirt bike at 3 years old, just like my dad did. So I don't know how he expected him not to be on a bike. And
yeah, no kidding.
So then they did the outlaw stuff with the car. I mean, it started off as just a back half car, and then they built it up to outlaw 10.5 car. So heads up stuff's always been in my blood. I mean, that's what I was raised around. So they did that for a while, and then they moved up to Pro Street, which is now evolved into Pro Mod. And then my dad started drag racing bikes probably right before I was born. So I've been at the drag strip my whole life. I mean, I got tons of pictures of me sitting on this gas tank in the staging lanes at LECR, Pomona, all over.
Just born for this. Born for it.
Yeah. I don't know nothing else.
That's
literally right. That's cool. I mean, I know a lot of us, like Dustin and I, same deal. We not, and I don't know about Dustin, but definitely not for me that far back. My grandfather drag race, so I guess that's 3 generations, right? So not quite as extensive as you, but I same deal. Grew up at the racetrack. That's some of my earliest memories. So that's awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, then I started originally bracket racing. I mean, same with my father. He won the Summit ETE championship, the national championship back in 2009. And then I think he was one of the first ones to do it on a no bar bike, if I remember right. I could be wrong. I don't know.
I love that stuff. I love it when people say the first one. That's my favorite thing ever. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't take
And then,
that away.
so, I mean, I bracket raced forever. You know, I won the ET finals, team race back in 2014 on my Pro Street bike. I mean, that was the first year I built it. And, you know, so I've ridden that bike forever. That was actually the very first bike I actually ever took down the drag strip. So
That's your
kinda,
that's your avatar.
yeah,
That's part of you right there. You know what I mean?
yeah. That's one bike I'll never sell. You know, I've been offered many times, you know, to sell it, but it ain't going nowhere. So I mean,
I feel like we all have one of those. Like I know
I,
I do.
I have two. I have two of those.
Two. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Neither one of my two's ever going anywhere. They'll hang from the rafters, boys. That's it. They ain't going nowhere.
Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah, so that's cool. So really you've just, I mean, a lot of people have kind of kept up and or probably know, you know, the last few years you've just been huge into Pro Street in the grudge world and doing really well at both. You know, do you want to kind of go through your Pro Street progression and stuff like that? And then, you know, of course, there was the move, you know, at some point. So,
yeah. I mean, obviously, you know, I bracket raced cars as well, just like you've been, and then you
right.
know, so I did dragsters and cars deal when I was still in the West Coast because, I mean, at the point where my bike was heads up, there was no heads up racing back there, so it was kind of hard to run it, you know. And then I came, let's see, me and my dad traveled to Indy for NHRA in 2015, I believe, and so we did that, and then I went down to Valdosta, and after that, I mean, I was hooked, you know. And then my dad ended up getting a job up here in Indy, and that's kind of what made the big move. You know, he made the initial move, and then I looked at it as I get to go racing. You know, I wasn't really worried about job at the time. You know, I was like, I'll figure it out. You know, at the time, figure out what I want to do. The main thing to me was to go racing, and
I
So
like it. I like it.
So was your dad, was that just a good opportunity, or did he kind of have in his mind that he wanted to get, you know, out there and get you out in that area as well, or just kind of coincidental?
at the time, my dad was going through a divorce, so he wanted a life change, and his best friend ended up taking over or being in charge of Precision Turbo. So
Oh, wow.
my dad got a job opportunity to work with Harry Ruska, which is a um, founded Precision Turbo
Mm-hmm.
on his NHRA Pro Mod car. So my dad was building the Hemis for it and crew chief on it, and so that's kind of what made the big move.
I gotcha.
And then I ended up working at Precision Turbo for about a year doing
So
that. And
some of the first few times I ever seen you at the track, of course, was at Indy. Like that's
yep.
and the biggest standout, man, was honestly your paint jobs on your motorcycles. Most of the
Oh
time,
yeah.
like your bike, I think initially it was just the white with the like the pinkish purple. Like I'm like that bitch is bad. Like that's what I always thought when I seen it. And you always, of course, rode it good, and really didn't notice that part. I guess because you done it so well, it looked casual. You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
for me, that's what I remember. And then I realized, man, he's raced a lot of different kinds of racing, like not just this. You know, you
Yeah.
kind of went all over and then experienced that. And of course, it's almost like a drug. It snatched you right up, and then you just hung on to it. You know.
Oh yeah. I mean, ever since I was little. I mean, my dad did a couple Pro Street deals back in the AMA days. I mean, I
Yeah.
was probably 9, 10 years old, and ever since I've wanted to race that class. You know,
Yeah.
I followed it big time with when Tim Haley used to do his was it Eat My Ink videos, or was it something else back
Man,
then?
they ain't no intro music like that. Like I wish I
Oh
had
no.
that music right now to play. It is like
That
I miss those, man. Those
yeah.
old school.
Oh yeah.
It was
Those
so cool.
videos
Yeah.
and then the straight liner. He did straight liner
Yeah.
too. The
Yeah.
Yeah, the
magazines.
magazine. Yep. Yeah,
Yeah,
those are
that was
awesome.
cool.
Yeah, I could try to like beatbox the noise, but I'd mess it up. So I ain't gonna try.
Man, I'll tell y'all what, one time Darnell got all tuned up and I can't make this up. Like you know, he beatboxed at a event and it was what I'm told is that it was phenomenal. And like I don't know where that came from because obviously you know, I have
Was
no
everybody else in the same situation, Darnell?
I don't think so. Oh man. Oh man. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
so you kind of touched on something I wanted to ask. You said that you'd always looked up and knew young or early on that you wanted to get into Pro Street. So, you know, I guess, well, probably I'll put it like this. Before the Gator Nationals, Dustin and I did a little preview and talked about you and a bunch of riders and racers we know, that were gearing up for it and whatnot. And, we kind of went into, how very few of the racers are, that's their job. A lot of people don't even realize how Eddie and Andrew, and we kind of went into detail with that, they have full-time jobs. Like racing was just, I guess, a bonus or
part of it.
Yeah. So, getting to that point, sorry, stumbling, and I haven't been drinking, promise y'all. So I guess the question is, have you always wanted to do Pro Stock Motorcycle, or is that something that's kind of developed recently? Where did that kind of come about? And for those that don't know, Gaige did ride at some select races last year with, and correct me if I'm wrong, but with Gary and Karen Stouffer, correct?
Correct. Yeah. I mean,
I feel like Gary was the lead to that whole deal, my honest opinion.
Well,
he definitely was.
Yeah.
He definitely was, I mean,
Gary knew.
Gary was pulling something slick, and it just worked out, right?
Yeah, he knew what was up. He's seen it. He's seen it in you, man. He knew it was your destiny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But before that,
worked out.
Well, no, go ahead.
I mean, before that, I mean, as a kid, growing up watching motorcycle racing, drag racing, I mean, that's where everyone wants to be, is pro stock. I mean, me and my dad have talked about it many times, when we're still back in the West Coast, but he always, laid it out as we got to give up everything else. Cause, I used to race dirt bikes pretty heavily when I was still on the West Coast. And, we did the boating thing, the off-roading thing. And,
right.
He always laid it out like, if you want to do pro stock, that's all we're going to do, because we're not going to, we're not going to half-ass it. We're going to go out there to try to be competitive. Same with like we do with Pro Street, even though I decided to run a nitrous bike.
It doesn't surprise me that you rode a lot of motocross. I've told Ben in previous podcasts that I think some of the best motorcycle drag racers race motocross or had rode, dirt bikes and stuff. I think that's the best trainer there is to make a good rider.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. I think it gives you, a way more fuel for the motorcycle.
Yep.
Which helps. I mean, even though we just go in a straight line, there's a lot going on.
Well, it helps you, you realize what's coming before it comes. You know what I mean? Like you kind of feel the ground. You know what I mean? It's just different. And, I mean, I ain't never raced motocross. I rode a bunch of tracks, and I growed up on a motorcycle salvage yard. So Lord knows I rode many dirt bikes, and I haven't done it in a long time because I'm too fat. But I would, people tell me all the time, why don't you race pro stock? I'm like, have you guys not seen me? Like,
who the hell is telling you that?
I mean, everybody.
I mean, I love you to death, buddy, but
yeah, they say it all the time. They're like, why don't you do that? I'm like, are you not realizing that you got to be like a certain size to do that? Like, yeah, I mean, the stuff I race, I got to push my stuff just to run sevens. You know what I mean? Like with nitrous. And of course, if I could somehow hit the lottery and get lipo, or some kind of miracle happen, I'm not giving up my taters though. It's just not happening. So
man,
it is what it is.
Can't give them up.
No, heck no. Kind of life's that.
I agree with y'all spot on, and that's probably where some of my riding inefficiencies come in. I was never really big into dirt bikes. I just rode four-wheelers. That's why I'm probably not as good as a rider, but I agree. Everybody that I know that's, rode or raced dirt bikes, holy cow, they are damn good drag racers.
It's the best trainer ever. I mean, look at Ron Arnold, Doug Gall. Yep. Like it's everybody that does crazy stuff on bikes or pushed them to their limits at some point has rode some kind of angry two-stroke dirt bike, because that's what it'll, or any kind of new four-stroke even, but there ain't nothing like a power band. When they come in, it's just like, oops, surprise. That's what my wife has to do before she can race, is she's got to ride something in this field here that will hurt a grown man. And when she does, she's ready, Till then, it ain't happening. Trainer. Yep, it is. She's going to look like a bubble out there. She's going to have every pad you can buy and chest protectors and boots because she's going to get mangled. I know, but I think if you can rip one of those wide open from a dead stop, you're ready. That's what it takes. Because the street bike will be nothing at that point,
Yeah, I totally agree.
So you go ahead, Dustin.
Realistically, you got your feet wet. a little bit last year. You guys knew that you were underpowered because you just had like a B or a C motor. You were just going out there getting experience, and we all seen it. You were smashing the tree straight down the racetrack, and then obviously Vance and Hines seen the same thing, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I mean, the crazy thing is that me and Andrew laugh about it, every once in a while. Basically, let's see. I rode the first bar bike I ever rode was it was a pro stock bike, but it had a boost motor in it. It went 740s. I made one hit on it. I made one hit on my dad's pro mod at the time, and then I rode Gary's bike at the bike I ran, a couple races last year. Had the small motor in it still. We were at Martin, Michigan, and that was when I just finished wiring Jimmy Underdahl's bike, put a max on it and the EFI and all that. Same with Gianna's. And at the end of the day, he's like, "You bring your leathers?" I'm like, "Yeah, I always bring them just in case. You never know." He's like, "We'll go throw them on and make a lap on the school bike." So I made one lap there. So that was a total of 3 passes on the bar bike. And then my 4th pass ever on the bar bike was at the U.S. Nationals.
It's got 2 wheels, man. You wasn't sweating it. You know what I mean?
You're right.
Wow.
That's the gangster Gaige, man. That's what I'll be telling people.
That's like when we were testing in Gainesville with Andrew. He's like, "So did you make enough passes now? You can count. You can't count all these passes on a bar bike on 2 hands." Started counting them. I'm like, "Yeah, I actually got more than 10 passes now."
Yeah.
And
it's crazy.
That's cool because I didn't even know that. I just assumed that you had ridden bar bikes in the past. Especially with as much racing as you've done. In all the different racing and styles. So wow, that's cool to know.
He likes that 330 excitement when this power comes in.
The 330 8th mile.
Yeah, when that thing's dragging the front tire up there, and you're like, "Oh Lord!" I mean, Willie bar bikes don't really do that. You know what I mean? Now, I think the Pro Extreme bikes would be a blast to ride. My personal opinion on that, because I've watched them guys go 3s and it don't ever set the tire down. Which it looks like the Willie bar is about to break off too, but that looks like a good time. I guess the scary part's what makes it exciting.
No, absolutely. I think that's why we do it.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Oh, for sure, the adrenaline. So you did some. I mean, how did that whole thing kind of come about? When did that start last year? Because obviously it started last year. I mean, some of us knew fairly early on, but
yeah, I mean,
did
Gary
Andrew
was
just
here.
Call you?
Gary was here at the shop hanging out, and we were just talking about. He was talking about the school bike a little bit, and then he looked at me and he was like, "We're not really doing nothing with it. Do you still have your pro stock license?" And at the time, I let all that stuff expire. So I started. He's like, "We need to get that renewed, and we'll go test at Virginia, which was the last Virginia XDA at Virginia."
Mm-hmm.
And so that just came out of nowhere. He's like, if you cover, the expense to get there and this and that, I'll supply the bike and, we'll work out a deal and just go out there and have fun. Get to say you ran at the U.S. Nationals and pro stock and, got to say you got to experience it.
A lot of racers actually come out at the U.S. Nationals, it seems like. Yeah. I've noticed that. Yeah. Like a lot of new racers show up there.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean,
bold move, Cotton. I would be trying to find the race that perennially has like 14 entries.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think it's just all about the facility and the history of it more than anything.
No, I get it. I agree with y'all. I just my ass would have been like, man, where's a race that they usually only get like 15 bikes show up? That one.
Yeah,
I agree. Not 20, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, so it came out of nowhere, with Gary and I mean, you guys know Gary and Karen. I mean, they're awesome people.
Oh yeah,
awesome to hang out with, awesome to work with. I mean, they're basically family more than friends, and
for sure.
So it definitely just came out of nowhere. And then after Indy, Gary was obviously still traveling because Karen was still running. So he's like, "You want me to take the bike to Reading?" I was like, "Yeah, screw it. Let's go and have some more fun with it." So we put a auto trans in the school motor and all that. And after that, I didn't qualify for Indy or Reading. And then after that, I had a few people reach out to me, asking if I want to continue with it for the rest of the season. And that's how we started putting together, an 1855 two valve, try to be more competitive, at least qualify,
Right.
So then after that, a one race deal turned into, let's run the rest of the races.
I
And
am proud to say I was one of those people.
yes, you were.
I'm very proud to
appreciate it
say
big
that.
time.
Oh man, like it was the best thing to me is seeing one of my friends, like not just somebody or whatever, a friend do exactly what they dream to do. Like it was worth everything to see you chase it. You know what I mean? And look,
Yeah.
it worked. You know what I mean? So I should have give you more.
Hell, you're at least you did. I mean, I wanted to, don't get me wrong, but here I was, baby on the way, wedding planning still. I was
Bro.
strapped. I wanted to.
Yeah.
I was glad that you did though, Dustin. That to me, that almost felt like I did something.
we all did it together because everybody that buys parts from me helped do that. So
For sure.
It was awesome. Like I was just like, he's got to go. Like he's got to go. And sure enough, it worked out. You went
cool to see
and run.
Yeah, I mean that was probably the most overwhelming thing I think to me was the amount of people and friends that reached out to help me chase a dream. It was unbelievable. That just goes to show all us racers are more than friends. We're family out there for each other.
Man, you ain't lying. Like it's better than family. A lot of it is.
Yeah.
Your race friends are tighter than some of your family. I've got family that wouldn't give me a nickel, and I've got friends that help me out every which way they could. You know what I mean? And
absolutely.
That it's just everybody comes together, and it also gives you hope that there's still people out in this world that want to see people succeed instead of try to hold them back. You know what I mean? So it was awesome.
Damn truth. Dang.
Yeah.
Our
the world's getting full.
It's going to open up to be the general public. We're just speaking knowledge now, spitting truth.
I mean, realistically, this world is getting to where everybody wants to be they want everybody to do good, but not as good as them. You know what I mean? And if there was more than one winner circle for everybody, I wish everybody could win. But if I'm in that class, I want to win. I'm sorry. So that's just how I roll. It could be my mama next door. I'm going to try to chop her head off on a tree, It's what it is.
Yeah, for sure.
I've only threw a handful of races, and they was for the big picture, not the little picture. And one of them was my wife at Bristol. It was like, I can't believe you did that. I'm like, well, we were in the finals together, but
that was early on though. Our views changed as you get older and all, and race enough. You and I have talked about that. The kind of view of certain things change. So that was back in the day. Gaige, continue on with that. I want to hear the play-by-play for the rest of that. So you kind of finished out the season from there, and then what happened?
So Dallas, we got the new motor, and that's the first race. I don't know. I qualified for St. Louis with the school motor. I don't know if it was I think it was a 15 bike field, so I qualified 15th. I think raced Angie first round, and she waxed my butt. But I think the race after that was Dallas, and we had the new motor, and I think we won a 692 or something. So we had fun there. I think Angie beat me again first round there. And then
man, she's a bully.
I know, right?
This is just shaping up. This is like book stuff, the stuff you write books about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we went to Vegas, and I think I ended up qualifying 12th or 13th at Vegas, if I remember right. And I lost first round to Jerry Savoy, but I mean that was a good weekend. I ran my new best on the Pro Stock bike and all that, and so I think it was Saturday night after qualifying. Andrew was walking through the pits, and he stopped my dad and was like, "Hey, when's Gaige flying out?" And I think at the time I was flying out Sunday night. My dad was like, "Why? Does he need to stay?" And
that's a smooth operator right there. He's seen it coming.
Right. And then so then Andrew was like, "Yeah, I'll let you know in a little bit. We might need him to stay Monday to test Eddie's bike. I want to try a few things, and we need a lighter rider on it." So I didn't really think nothing of it. I changed my flight out. Told the boss, I got to stay an extra day, and so we tested Monday. I think I made a total of 4 laps on the bike. Everything went good, and
that was definitely a test.
Right?
You just didn't know it at the time.
Oh, yeah. No, I was just looking at it as an opportunity to ride, the best machine in the class.
Yeah.
I wasn't turning that down.
And a lot of people don't know this. Like, I mean, a few of us are aware of it, but a lot of people don't know this whole deal. That you done that you tested before the actual test at Gainesville. That you had rode their motorcycle beforehand.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and like I said, I didn't think nothing of it, at the time.
So you were just excited
awesome
to ride, like you said, the top bike, and that was kind of where it ended. You're like, all right, that was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I looked at it as an awesome opportunity, and, I was like, cool, whatever comes out of it, I'm happy. And, so we went to Pomona, we did that whole deal. And, I talked to Andrew and Eddie a little bit, but nothing about, the next season or future plans. Like I said, I didn't think nothing of it. Don't expect nothing out of it,
Mm-hmm.
And so, we went to the banquet, and then I think it was a week after Pomona. I was driving to work, in the snow, all mad about living in Indiana and stuff.
Yeah, like, man, this is perfect. Like, man, like South Park, you know what I mean?
Oh, man.
Yeah. Yeah, so then Andrew sent me a text message, hey, give me a call when you get a chance. And then I called him, and he's like, so what do you got planned for next season? I said, I don't know. I'm going to run my Pro Street bike. I'm trying to put something together to do a little more races and, get a 4-valve for carries and EFI and this and that. And then he's like, well, if you're not too far along in that, would you like, what do you think about riding one of our bikes? And then, right then and there, I didn't really have nothing to say. He's like, are you still there? I'm like, yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, I run off in the ditch in the snow, man.
Yeah, right.
Hold up.
A man of few words was left speechless.
Yeah.
I think that would have left Dustin speechless with that call.
I'd have probably started crying. Hang on a minute. You gonna pay for my lipo too?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, it was awesome. Just to have Andrew call and ask me to ride their bike. I mean, that's an opportunity of a lifetime.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, it was like when I was aware of it. I'm pretty sure. I'm not going to say who told me, but who told me.
Yep.
Anyway, I was like, man, I had so much trouble keeping it in. Like, I was just like walking around all the time, like my homies get ready to ride that. And I was like, it's going to be the best year ever. And finally, I honestly thought that, PRI was when they were going to mention it. But, Vance and Heinz Style, they just, didn't do like everybody else does. They just kept it, quiet for a little bit longer. And everybody was guessing. I was seeing people on post guess. I'm like, man, I know who, but I can't say. I'm just waiting.
Oh, yeah. Man, I can't tell you how many people at PRI and everything ask me, so you riding their bike next year? I'm like, no, I don't know. I got some things in the works. That's about it.
Yeah.
That was so hard for me to keep in,
Yeah, I bet. Like when I met you to, drop my bike off or whatever, he was probably like, oh, I can talk about it a little bit. It was a freedom, And I told you there, I was like, man, they in trouble. Like I just feel like that it could not be. I'm not saying this because we're friends. I'm saying it because it's the facts. There is not a better person for the job. You got a builder, a tuner, a welder. I mean, if something goes wrong with the track, you can literally weld stuff and fix it. You know what I mean? Like, there's just so many wiring. There's just so much stuff you can do that they could use you for other than just going fast on the motorcycle. Now, you probably don't have to do none of that, but you can, if you had to, you're not one of them princess style riders that just come out with their leathers on, ready to straddle the bike. You can do anything that they need to happen. It's just perfect in my mind. There's nothing better.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was like when we sat down at PRI. I mean, that was the one thing I asked. I was like, do I get to work on the bike? Because I'm going to be bored if I just have to sit there. I cannot go to a race and just sit there or not do something.
Yeah, I mean,
and what
can I gauge the tire? Let me do something,
Yeah.
So what they say, they laugh at you.
Oh yeah, they laughed a little bit and they're like, "No, we want you to do whatever you feel comfortable doing." So I mean, I think that's awesome. Being a part of the team, basically being a crew member and getting to ride. It's awesome.
Well, I mean, hey man, you're a tuner too, right? So if you feel that bike doing something mid-track, you can also relay it back to Andrew, and it helps the whole program. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like I'm not saying those bikes are slow, but I'm saying that there's a lot less things happening mid track that you're used to that you can relay. It's so much more information that you can obtain because it's more under control. You know,
Oh.
there's no surprise wheelie at 330 or 8th mile. Like if it does it on your pro street bike, you're like, God, I guess I have to pull some power out and just see what happens. And that thing you could say, I felt it and it lay over or whatever, and then relay it back. And all that's going to do is just make the whole team stronger because they can take that same info and put it in Eddie's bike and, of course, help it too, hopefully,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think that's a big advantage. I mean, being on the tuner side of it, rider side of it, it all helps.
That's what I said. It's the dream. It was I know you're living the dream, and I text you after Gainesville, and Wally got to go on a plane ride and go to dinner and all that good stuff, which he deserved and you deserved. And you're probably still pinching yourself and all that stuff, but I seen it, man. Like when I found out, I'm like, I'm not saying that you're going to dominate. There's going to be tough races because it's racing. Stuff happens.
Oh, absolutely.
But I feel like that you having fun out there racing is dangerous. Like it's just a good it's just a good combo, and you're going to be in pro stock for probably the rest of your racing. My honest opinion. I'm going to miss you.
We'll see.
I'm going to miss you.
I'll be at the first XDA.
Are you really?
Okay?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Heck yeah.
That's good because
hang out with my friends.
Yeah, well, I mean, even if you didn't come, I was going to buy Bang Bang Shrimp and just sit it where you usually park at. Just for
a memorial.
Yeah, like oh man,
what do they call it? There's different words for like it's like a shrine. No, it'd be like a shrine, right?
Yeah,
the shrine of Gaige.
Yeah. He usually parks right here. There's his Bang Bang Shrimp from Foxy Fish.
Darnell would find that shit late at night, I'd hope.
I mean, of course, the fat guy's talking about food, but I'm sure you have to watch that too, right? Now you got to keep your weight at a certain area, which you might not have trouble with that before. But
I'm basically just maintaining my same weight I was before.
Yeah, okay.
With the whole pro, because I mean, obviously running the nitrous pro street bike, I got to be as light as I can too.
Yeah. So it works out good. Good deal. Yeah. That's perfect. It's like destiny.
Well, tell us, and tell the listeners. Obviously, everybody was way in tune before this Gator Nationals, and it's one thing that Dustin and I talked about when we were talking about previewing the Gator Nationals. Like, there's an obvious buzz, I feel like, if nothing else, on social media now, just from you and Chase and Joey's been in there and did well last year, and who else? Malcolm Richard. Yeah, like there's so many young racers, and well, I'm not going to call anybody out, but some of them aren't as young.
What it also does
Richard,
is
like me, Dustin.
Yeah,
I love you.
What it does though is all the racers that race like the sportsman style series that we race, see all these people, so they feel like they can relate more to it. So it drives interest way up.
So to us, there was just like this huge buzz, and then the testing. Oh my goodness! Before the Gator Nationals, like obviously that was blown up by everybody and anybody. So I feel like our whole little motorcycle drag racing circle was like really in tune prior to that weekend. So, we kind of know how that testing went great for you guys as a whole. Like, what did you guys have expectations prior to the start of that weekend? Or was it just like, we're going to put forth a good effort and see what happens?
They was trying to get him to have more passes than two hands could count. That was the goal.
Exactly.
That's a good damn goal in an NHRA race.
Well, I was talking about testing. Like when they went to testing games where they had to get him some seat time to get them numbers up over 10. Gangsta Gaige didn't need no laps.
Yeah, I mean, everyone seen testing went very well. I mean, testing went good for a lot of people, I mean, we were out there with Chase, and he did good. And, I can't tell you, relaying back to, all the people from the different sanctions watching, I can't tell you how many people reached out to me and they were like, we got a reason to watch NHRA again. The new faces, it's going to be good competition between the new guns and, out there competing against Matt Smith, which, he's a 6-time champ for a reason, he's not going to be easy. And,
And he
You
works
know,
his
it was,
tail off. You know, him
yeah.
and Angie work hard. I mean, they eat, sleep, just like, you. It just, they eat, sleep, and poop Pro Stock Motorcycle. Like that's all they know,
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
glad people are reaching out, so it wasn't just us thinking that it was a big buzz because we were pretty sure it was. So that's good to know.
I didn't even message
Yeah.
him for a couple of days because I didn't know he was getting blowed up. I'm like, I'm gonna let him have a break. Then I checked on Wally.
Well, I was trying to do the same too, and then for whatever reason, I guess it's probably because that was a Darnell Ben thing, but I was like messaging Gaige on Snapchat because we're friends on Snapchat, and then I was asking about the podcast like what a week later, and I was like, well, text my number so that I can like set this up better, and he texts me, it pops on my phone, it's like Gaige, I'm like, damn it, I had his phone number, I was like, I didn't even check. We've been talking on Snapchat for the last couple of weeks. It's because of that Bang Bang Shrimp. That's what it was.
Yeah, bang
Yeah,
bang shrimps,
exactly.
man.
It's like what
Man,
it's like, hey, y'all need Bang Bang Shrimp? You and DJ, I got it. And now I might
Yeah.
get too drunk at the restaurant and forget to bring it home, but I'll buy it for y'all.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, DJ's
Yeah, I'm
like, just get bang bang shrimps. I'm like, all right, I got it. We got you. Then Ben forgets it.
So
Yeah,
I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say I can't wait for Bang Bang Shrimp next month.
Man, that's my favorite thing. That's the only reason I go up on Thursday, dude, is just to eat there. Like that's the only reason I drive a whole day early is just to go eat there.
100%.
I might even get bang bang shrimp this time. I never get that, but I might this
that
time.
shit is good. That shit is good for sure.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, what were your thoughts prior to that? And I mean, I know you're humble and you're not gonna say anything crazy, but I mean, be honest. Tell me you weren't excited and amped up. I mean, in the back of your mind before the weekend started, were you like, I'm gonna do this?
Didn't you watch the video? When he crossed the finish line, he went, yes. I seen his head go down. I'm like, yeah, he's happy.
Man, yeah, no, I saw him cross the finish line because that was
Yeah.
like well, I haven't really paid that much attention. I get the Cliff Notes version the past couple of years, but I know when I was trying to watch every pass, which was even harder because that meant staying off social media all day, and luckily I like caught it almost every round at the perfect time in between whatever I was doing. But no, I was like, I'm sure like Dustin was too, I was jumping up and down and going nuts, and it's like, what? I was like, Gaige isn't even fist bumping or nothing in the shutdown. I was
He
like,
done
what
one
the
little
hell?
head gesture. He was, I guess he said, yeah, or something in his helmet. I seen his head go down. I'm like, he's happy. He got it. We all do that.
So walk us through that a little bit, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I mean, so we went testing in Orlando, and I mean, the bike was running awesome. I mean, we went a 102 60 foot. I mean, I think we were the out of everyone there, I think we had the lowest ET. I mean, I think Richard was right behind me. He was running awesome. And so, I mean, in the back of my mind, I knew I had the bike to win. I just had to do my job. So that was the biggest thing on me, was not to get nervous. I mean,
Right.
Honestly, the first pass at Orlando, I pulled in a water box and I forgot to turn the ignition switch on. I kept saying the vacuum pump ain't working. I was just testing. I was like nervous,
Yeah.
And so, I mean, going into Gainesville, Thursday I think was the hardest day for me, honestly. And it didn't have to do nothing to do with the motorcycle. It was all the PR stuff, the
Media day.
Oh man, that was the worst.
Your best interviews was with Jack Corbella, and that's because you knew him.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know. The one when I tested in Gainesville wasn't too good with him, but
yeah.
But I did all the media day, and then the stuff with Mission Foods and all that. So that was a whole day ordeal, and So then Friday, racing part to me was easy after that. It wasn't easy. It's more of what I'm used to.
Yeah, it's just comfortable. That's where you want to be, suited up on the motorcycle. Everything else in between is work. That is natural,
No, exactly. So, I mean, when it came down to qualifying, I just looked at it as a test session and trying to be consistent on the tree, and just ride the bike. I wanted to continue what I was doing in testing at the race. And that was the biggest thing to me. I mean, like I said, I knew I had the best bike out there, based off the testing and everything else. I mean, it was a lot of pressure on my shoulders mentally.
Right.
Seeing all the fans, the sold out crowd. I mean,
that was insane.
Yeah. I mean, it's an experience I'll never forget.
It broke you in right. That's what it did.
Right?
You ready. You ready now. You handle that. You can handle anything. It's right. It's good, But you told me before the race that you're just going to go have fun. And that's exactly what
No,
you
yeah.
did.
I mean, that's one thing my grandmother, is beating my head is if you're not having fun, don't do it. So she
Exactly.
always, I mean, I love having my grandparents there at the races. Unfortunately, they couldn't be at Gainesville, but I mean, they go to most of my pro street races, and
Oh yeah.
right before my run, that's what she always says. Have fun.
Yep.
And that's the biggest thing. So I mean, that's all I was doing was out there having fun, riding a motorcycle. I mean, obviously, there was a bunch of pressure on me, and
Them pipes didn't
yeah.
bust, though. Them pipes are good. It was perfect, man. And I know it's hard for you to even explain it because even looking back at it, like and everything, it's like a blur, but also like the longest but greatest thing ever at the same time.
Oh yeah, I mean it's crazy. I mean, as much stuff that was going on throughout that weekend, I mean, it still felt like I was there a week.
Yeah.
I mean, just between running good and doing all the media stuff and all the camera stuff. I mean, it's insane.
And I also noticed, you was talking about being consistent. I noticed that your lights were usually, at a good spot to be in your situation where you had a little bit of ET and you was living around the 30, 20 area.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Ben had talked about it in the recap podcast that Chase was just destroying the tree like every lap.
Yeah.
Man, he was tearing that thing down.
This is no knock on you, Gaige, because like Dustin said, I didn't look through all yours, from what I recall, right around that 30-40 range.
He was smart racing. That's what I would have done.
I mean, like Dustin said, you didn't need to be 00 every pass when you're, couple hundreds better than, the field. So, but man, I went down through when we kind of did our little recap, and I told Dustin because we thought we had heard or seen a little bit. And I mean, did you see all of Chase's lights?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think in qualifying, his worst light was like a 12 or 13.
Exactly.
Boo Brown was there, and he's always in the lanes. He's like, "Hey man, if you got Chase, my money's on Chase because he's been busting your butt on the light."
Man.
That's typical Boo Brown right there. He's up there talking. You already had enough pressure, young, and he's up there talking trash in the staging lanes. Man,
yeah, it was awesome.
So
that was cool to see. I mean, like we said, just some of the young guns going through, duking it out, and we know there's more to come from some other ones. Seemed like Joey had a tough weekend and still managed to do okay. Getting a round win, and just so many people that are capable of running to the top. And like you said, you came in and kind of knew you had the bike to beat, and just staying level headed. That's
I mean, he done the smart thing. I mean, if I was, it's just like when we race street ET bracket racing. You don't go up there and cut lights like you would in pro ET. You 30 or better. That's kind of what you do because you know that the class you're in, that's where you need to be. You can still win there.
It's all about knowing your surroundings.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be up there taking no shots at the tree when I knew I had a little ET as long as I done my job down the racetrack. That's exactly what Gaige did, and that's exactly what should have happened, in my opinion.
So aside from Thursday, you said was the media day, was there any point during the race day or anything where you're like, or around that you're like, this is the toughest one, or it was just all media day on Thursday and the rest was just like clockwork?
Definitely first round. The first round was a big deal to me. Even though, I ran Ron Torno and he runs good. He treated me. I think he had a 22 to my 40 or something. And I mean, you can't take any of those Mass Smith bikes lightly,
No.
I mean, they ran just as good as we did in testing. So, it was just a matter of, I mean, he had a lot of bikes going on. So that whole weekend. So, it's hard to say what was going on.
Man can just get that laptop out and hit the right strides of the keys. You know what I mean? And everything just kind of happened. That's where upsets come from. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, absolutely.
You have to have people say it a lot, like it's their day, and that is true. But you also, got to be a person for opportunity and be prepared for, whatever happens. And you guys obviously you had a hot rod. You were doing your job to be decent on the tree to make sure that you had a shot, and it worked out. For me, I feel like that for you, once you clicked off past the first round would have been the stressful one, because wasn't that your first round win?
Yep.
Yeah.
That
So
was my first.
yeah,
Yep.
you've never experienced that, right? So that was like nerve wracking. And then when you got that one, then it just kind of went from, all right, we can do this. I can do this. And then here we go. Rounds started clicking off.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think the final was definitely the second, most nerve wracking.
Yeah.
I mean, Angie had my number the season before.
Yeah, all them first rounds.
Yeah.
Did that come up in your mind? Were you like, man, I got to get her back? Or you just were trying to keep everything out of your mind, just another time trial?
I mean, I was thinking about it. I owe her too. So I mean,
yeah.
And I was thinking, all of Matt's good stuff is in her bike now. That he's on a Suzuki, so
yeah,
like we said, at any moment he could turn it around. Which I mean, they were running good. I mean, I think they put a max on it now, so they were going back and forth on that.
Yeah.
But Steve Nichols there helping Matt Smith out and everything else. I mean, you never know what they're gonna go out there and what kind of number they're gonna put on the board. So I was definitely nervous about that.
That's where I think that as the year progresses, it's going to get tougher. You know what I mean? Like everybody, the first race, yeah, people go test and all this, but you're going to get better. Like everything, your team, Vance and Hines, is going to get better. Because you guys, didn't you have some motor troubles and you guys had to swap motors or something? Maybe I read that wrong somewhere.
We personally did not have no motor problems.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean the motor I had in my bike had I think almost 20 laps on it. From testing Orlando to Gainesville. So I mean, between my bike and Eddie's bike, we didn't have no problems.
They just broke in.
Yeah, I mean Andrew had both our bikes running good. And Eddie had a couple of issues which we fixed right before first round. We found something broke on the bike which was causing a big issue. So we fixed that right before first round, and then he went out there and won a 76, which what he was chasing all weekend. Then he had to start over first round.
Yeah,
but luckily, those guys they got tons of data, and they got all those championships for a reason.
Yeah.
So
that had to be a weird round when you raced him, right? Like I mean,
oh yeah.
you kind of, as like if it was me and you, we'd be talking some trash. You know what I mean? Like that's what we do. But you really don't know if you can with the boss man, like part of the boss man team. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, I don't know. But I think you said something in the interview about, Eddie knew that he was in trouble by the ETs that you had been laying down. But Eddie's a great person. Like I text him all the time, and in my opinion, he's a team player like that. He wants the best for the team, and you going on, of course, was the better tuned dialed bike. So it sucked that you had to race each other, and anything can happen in racing. You could have missed a shift and he could have nipped you or whatever, but it had to be interesting, just to know that you had to race against him, which probably was awesome in the fact that you were getting ready to race Eddie. You know what I mean? Like that had to be cool too,
Oh yeah. I mean, I would say that was almost probably the toughest round for me. Having to race the boss man, slash, teammate.
Yeah.
That was definitely going to the back of my mind. First race out with the new team. How's this? How is this going to play out? Type of thing.
How do they want you to play it out? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, right.
Do you want me to do my job here, or what do you want? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, we all know it. John Force has done it. There's times that things happen, but that's usually toward the end of the year when championships on the line. And I get it. I've done it for my teammates. It happens. But you, as a new hired racer on the team, it just was like, oh Lord, like what do I do? And he told you just go do your job, and that's what you did. So
yeah, that was exactly what he said. I mean, we were in the trailer talking about it. He's like, well, at least now I got a motorcycle to race you with. After they fixed the issue. So I mean, it was just one of those things. Let the best package win.
Right.
By the end of the season, y'all gonna be talking mad trash to each other before you race. Once that relationship gets good, shoot, y'all gonna be golden.
No, yeah.
So,
I mean,
go ahead.
Well,
I was just gonna say, I mean, you don't even have to put a number on it, but as far as a grudge racing, you've raced for a lot of money, right? Like, and if you want to throw a number out so everybody knows, that's cool. But you've raced for what? 20 plus
25 grand. Yeah.
25 grand. So,
one lap.
So let's put that in perspective. Here's what I want to know the first round of the Gator Nationals more stressful than $25,000 one pass for grudge race?
Not even close. Not even close. Because I think, there's a lot more to lose money wise on grudges. In the back of your mind doing grudge for 25 grand, you're thinking about, man, if I go out there and lose all this money, there's gonna be a lot of people mad at me, especially if I go red or do something
Yeah.
wrong.
So,
yeah,
so kind of where I wanted to go with that was, that's helped you then, right? All the grudge racing, stressful situations that a lot of people wouldn't find themselves in. I mean, Pro Street's one thing, but I don't know. I don't know if a lot of people know how big some of these grudge races, money wise get.
no, yeah, I think that's the biggest advantage. Like me and Malcolm and Richard got, is the whole coming from the grudge scene. I mean,
Right.
Chase has come from very competitive 460. I mean, that right there. I mean, if you're not 00 and dead on or one off the number, you're going out.
Yeah, we talked about
So
that the last show. 460 is a tough class. God, it's a
oh yeah,
tough deal. We
yeah.
already know that the media day was probably more stressful than $25,000 grudge race.
Oh yeah.
I was like, Ben's asking the wrong question. Was the media day more stressful?
Yeah, that is true. But I just wanted it in perspective for
Yeah,
everybody,
yeah.
because I mean, like I said, I don't know if some of the maybe I guess you would say more casual, fans or even just racers understand how much money is had at some of these grudge races. So I don't know. I just thought that was a good one to ask.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. It's something that people, I mean, there's a lot of people out there. I'm one of them. I don't make much money a week myself. So a lick like 25 grand, I've won some big money races, and that's a big deal, and you don't want to let people down that's backing you. So that's got to be stressful. Then the instance of racing for Vance and Hines, you don't want to let them down because it's your job, there's a lot of different kind of stresses in that deal, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, grudge racing for money, and then, I mean, when I first met Terry Vance at PRI, I walked in I met him. Yeah, I met up with him, Andrew, and Eddie, and
Mm-hmm.
so I shook Terry's hand. He's like, let's go in my office really quick. I gotta meet the guy that I'm signing to replace a 3-time champion or whichever at the time, and that right there, I was definitely tensed up. I mean, he could
I
see it
bet.
when I was sitting in the chair. He's like, "Man, sit back, relax." He's like, I just want to get to know you, and so that right there, I felt like I had some weight on my shoulders to, you know, prove, or I get not really prove, but to show to Terry and Andrew and everyone, I was definitely serious about the whole thing, and I'm there to win and do business.
Well,
So
on
that
camera,
right
we
there
could
was big.
see that. On camera, we could see that Andrew was very pleased. Terry is a man of few words. He just kind of stayed away from the camera, but he looked happy. You know what I mean? So I'm sure he's happy with the choice. You done your job. You done what you're supposed to do. Um, I'm sure the next time you go into his office, you'll probably lay back in that seat a little bit more chill.
Right?
Hollywood Herrera up in here.
Who was most excited on the team?
On the team, I would
Yeah.
say Andrew and Jay, which
Oh,
is
Jay, yeah.
Jay Carrot. Yeah,
You for
Jay's
sure
awesome.
seen it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
And
I would say between them two.
yeah, that was
I
cool.
know.
It was good to
I
see
noticed on
everybody.
video two people that was very proud of you, and that was Gary and Karen. They were
Oh
very
yeah.
proud of you. I could just see it in their eye. They were. It's almost, to be honest, it was almost like them watching their kid do it. Like they were. You could just see that you guys were like family. They were very happy to see you do well, and
Yeah.
just a little bit that I seen them on Cycle Drag, on the camera. I'm like, man, I got goosebumps right now because everybody was so happy to see you do so well, and I know it does the same thing to you. It's just awesome.
Yeah, I mean that was probably one of the highlights, having them there, and then
Yeah.
I got to take a picture at the finish line with Karen, and I mean that's awesome.
Yeah.
Being like I said, or like we've said it, they're more than family. So to
Yeah.
have them there and support me through all this, and
Yeah.
I mean I wouldn't be there if it wasn't for them.
Exactly.
So they're a big part of this whole deal.
I think
That's
that's why
awesome.
that affected me so much, seeing them happy, because I knew the situation with last year and you riding their bike and stuff that, if it wasn't for them, you wouldn't have done that. So that's what made me, I guess, have more joy, for them being there. It was cool. Super cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And after Q4, Gary came over the pit and he's like, all right, now that's close enough. He's like, don't go out there and break the record tomorrow, 68. He's like, stop it there.
Yeah, I seen that. Jack
That
said the
is funny.
record's safe for now. And I was like, yeah, things change so much. And we all know that records are meant to be broken. But no matter what happens in this world, nobody will never forget who Karen Stouffer is, period.
Oh, no, never.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said it, and I'll say it now. She is the baddest female to ride a pro stock motorcycle, in my opinion.
I agree.
And I'm an Angel fan, and I still say that. There's a lot of new ones. I think Angie's a great rider, but Karen just made it look easy. Always did.
Well,
Yep.
you and I were talking. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was to say, Angel and Karen made the class.
Yeah.
What it is today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Dustin and I were talking the other day too, and I think we said it on kind of like our shortened recap of the Gators. Gianna, man, she's shown a heck of an improvement.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that was, I'll be the first to say, I feel like in the past, I mean, some of her passes are downright scary to watch, but man, what a difference. And
completely different rider.
And I said this too, I kind of wanted to, put an asterisk beside it. I don't want to pin it all on her. Maybe there was some issues with some of the stuff she was riding her bike that, just not anything intentional, but just minor issues that were causing, some things as well. But man, she looked good at that first race. So
yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. She made big improvements. I was talking to her at the finish line. I think it was after Q2 or 3. And, I was telling her, you look really good. I'm happy for you. She's like, yeah, I've never been this comfortable, my whole career. And, that's the biggest thing, to be comfortable on these bikes. I mean, you guys rode bar bikes. You can't really move them around or throw them around like no bar bikes or something. You get on the body or something, you're going down.
Yeah.
So if you're not comfortable on a bike, it gets scary. So
even bracket racing, being comfortable is very important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing I think that she improved on, and it's showing. I mean, she did awesome. Good lights, took out Matt. I mean,
yeah.
I mean,
she took out her boss man.
Yeah. I mean, who would have ever thought it would have been me, Chase, Gianna, and Angie in the semis?
Well, we kind of try to predict that, and I of course,
pretty close.
I was pretty close. Like I had Matt in the mix at the Final Four, and of course you, and I didn't have Angie on there, but I knew she had the potential to be there, and I did not think Gianna would be there. I honestly thought that would be Joey, but Gianna's worked hard over the winter and got her, got everything together and tested, and now look at her. Like it shows that
180.
Yeah, the being at the racetrack is what it takes. Seat time is key. And then also, Matt said that he had her working out and to get her core strength up, and that's obviously a big factor too.
Well, and I think what Gaige said too is just a key in all levels, and it's something, Dustin and I touch on a lot in our school too, is, I mean, confidence. That's key to everything, especially, racing is more mental than a lot of people even realize. I mean, if you're not mentally strong and if you're not confident, like you were saying, Gaige, you can't be afraid of it. You got to be confident and feel comfortable riding it. So that makes a lot of sense, So that's good to see.
Yeah, you can't race scared. Period. Like if you race scared, you're gonna mess up. You just got to send it. Even if it's at the tree on bracket racing or if it's riding a motorcycle, you just got to be confident in yourself. Not too overconfident. Don't be confident, then you can't do it because you can get yourself hurt. But you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly.
So I told Ben about it, and I had one question that I was going to ask you, but really, I think I already know the answer. So my question was, so pro street versus pro stock, and I already know what you're going to say. That I was going to ask you which one was your favorite, and the reason I was going to ask that was because they're so different, but I think you really love them both probably the same, to be honest. I don't know. What's your answer?
No, you nailed that right on the head. Yeah.
It's so different. Like they're different kind of loves. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like it's hard to pick one, I guess you would say.
Yeah, I mean, I love Pro Street for, I would say, the challenge and not knowing what the bike's gonna do.
Yeah.
And then
The
and then I
adrenaline.
love, yep, and then I love Pro Stock for the fact that you have such little room for error. So it's
So it's almost like critiquing your riding skills every lap. Like you got to be perfect. You're trying to be,
like,
you know.
exactly. I mean, I want to think. I mean, riding the Pro Street bike. I mean, you within. I mean, like my bike, for instance, if you're within 500 or 1,000 RPM on the shift, it really doesn't affect it that much.
Yeah,
But
that
if you
all
do that
motor,
on
it
the,
sucks the soul out of it, don't
oh yeah,
it? Yeah, I
I mean,
mean,
yeah,
is
really, it
that
might make you better on the Pro Street bike. You know what I mean? Like that Pro Stock could help Pro Street, and then Pro Street obviously help Pro Stock. You know what I mean? So
yeah. No, I totally agree. I mean, I think it would. Like you said, both sides help each other. I
yeah,
mean, I, when I rode the bike before with the Gen 2 bodywork, everyone's, scared of that body, which I mean, I would say it. The Gen 2 no bar bikes are a little hairy as it is as well.
right?
yeah,
I mean, those bikes just catch air for some reason,
yeah,
weird and wash the front end out. And the Pro Stock bikes actually wash the front end out a little bit too. It's kind of weird on a Pro Stock bike. I'll say that. But I think where the no bar bike has helped me and Richard and all those guys that have done no bar bikes on the Pro Stock is to be ahead of the bike, to expect what's coming
yeah,
before it's actually happening. I think that's the
yeah.
biggest thing. So
Yeah, I
it
think.
goes both ways.
I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I've watched you guys on Pro Street, like the front end just like washing away, and you're still trying to keep it off the wall. And I'm like, I just don't know if that looks very fun or not. Like, there's
Yeah,
times
right.
this is my word, it's sketchtacular looking down there.
Yeah,
The surprise wheelies don't really get me like, oh, that looks scary, but the washing out and then yanking you toward the wall thing, I've seen you all over the wall many a times, and I'm like, bruh,
nice.
well, one time you
You see me
your
bounce off the wall.
horns, yeah, it folded a
Yeah,
horn in once, and
that
it's
scared
like,
the shit out of all us.
yeah, I mean, that's the part, the sudden, no, we're going to go this way. That's that, and the bar bike will do that too, because full fairing stuff, that's kind of part of it. But I feel like the power difference and how hard one's pulling when it says we're going to go this way is a little different. And like you going on the Pro Stock bike down through there, it looked like you had to do very little to keep it straight. But I think it's
Yeah,
because you were ahead of it and you knew what it wanted when it wanted it, and you're getting so comfortable on it quickly. It looked effortless versus I've watched you take some sketchy rides on the Pro Street. Like, oh Lord,
yeah. No, that Gen 3 body. I mean, when they changed that body over, it was a whole new bike. I mean, Andrew and Eddie worked on that body, and it's a dream to ride,
Man,
honestly.
it looks beautiful. Like the picture with
Yeah.
the Suzuki, the stock boost. I'm like, man, that they done a fabulous job of trying to make it look, like a stock bike.
It
For
looks
what they
damn
had to
good.
do, yeah, it looks so nice. It really does.
Yeah,
It
yeah, it
must
looks
be nice
awesome.
to ride it.
Oh yeah,
So you are coming? Ain't Pro Stock Motorcycle coming to Bristol?
yeah,
I'll be
yep.
there. I'll be there. I'm coming. I ain't been to
Yeah,
NHRA in
better.
Bristol since many years, but I will be there. I guess I'll have to talk to the boss man, see if I can hang out with y'all, but I will be there for sure.
It'd be awesome.
100%.
What you touched on it though briefly, but tell everybody, I mean, is it the shifting and the shift points? Is that, you kind of mentioned it just being everything has to be so perfect and precise. Is that like the biggest factor?
I would say that's the biggest factor, and not moving around so much on the bike. I mean, I the first couple of times I rode Gary's bike, for instance, we kept trying to figure out why it wasn't mile an hour. And the biggest thing is, I mean, you basically got to lay on these things, get on the second hump, and if you want the bike to go left or right, you really don't want to hang off the side like I do or like most guys do on Pro Street bikes.
Uh-huh.
You want to just, either put weight on the peg or just poke the shoulder out, or even just lean your head a little bit. It's kind of so that took me a little bit to get used to. Not such a aggressive riding.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I would say that's the biggest thing is that and shift points.
I was
Okay.
thinking on driving the bike would definitely be more involved in the foot pegs. Just my past experience on bar bikes, it seemed like that was the best way to a car tire bike to make it move was just put weight on a foot peg and it would do it, most of the time.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
Well, yeah, I was just curious about
Yeah,
that.
Ben, you need to be listening to this, sir, Mr.
No, I
460.
know. Yeah. Well, trust me.
Hanging off
Yeah.
the side, sometimes in like a bad situation could be the move, but down track, it's foot peg weight from what I've done. I'm sure,
My-
Gaige kind of said the same thing there. So
My biggest thing is like, I mean, as far as staging, I'm just so comfortable with having my legs at like a 90 in front of me. Like I mean, that's not possible to ride one of those bikes like that, right? Like a 460. So I gotta get
I mean,
you.
some people do.
Oh, do they?
yeah. I mean, I've watched a lot of pro stock people flat foot the starting line, and as soon as they leave, the feet goes on the pegs.
All right. So I can do that on the 460.
Yeah.
All
I
right,
mean,
well, that
your
makes me
first
feel
pass,
a little better.
your first pass, you might want to do the twinkle toe effect just to make sure that you ain't going nowheres. But after that, you can do whatever you feel.
All right.
The deal is,
I'm trying to get my learning in tonight too.
when being for like pro stock motorcycle, they throw a lever, so they know exactly when it's leaving. When you come off a button on a 460 bike, you know when it's leaving. So you just got to make sure when you come off that button that your body weight is going into their launch and not just letting it surprise you with your feet flat on the ground. You know what I mean? Because then you'll do that roly-poly effect off the tail section.
I'm gonna have like a big phone a friend text message going when I go test this thing.
I'm going to just duct tape your hands to the handlebar. You'll be fine.
Exactly. What was the? No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you could be like my dad. I mean, my dad hasn't rode a bar bike in years. He was riding no bar bike, and I think the first weekend he was back on a bar bike, he was dragging his feet the first 60 feet.
I mean, I've seen bar bike guys do that. And some people just do it because the bike's pulled them one way and they're kind of just trying to get it over and they got their leg out. And I've seen it, but I think that personally, staging consistently, I think being flat footed is a great move. Because you can hold the bike stable and not let it roll in and out of the beams or whatever. But for holding on and not getting peeled off of it, the twinkle toe is the way to go on that deal.
Yeah,
I
we'll
totally
have
agree.
to play with. Yeah, we'll have to play around with that and figure it out and see what my teammates say.
I think the flat-footed thing comes with experience, and the twinkle toe is the beginner option, in my opinion. That's where I would start. Now, pro stock, a lot of guys do that just so they don't have to make big movements like they're done there. And in Gaige's situation, he's probably trying to find that second hump ASAP when it leaves. So, your feet on the pegs to lift yourself up is there,
Yeah, exactly. I think, if I remember right, I think Karen Stouffer does a whole flat foot thing.
She does. Yep, she sure does.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to watch some. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say she's got that, that thing nailed down. She does that nice. I mean,
I'll have to watch some videos.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is you don't want to upset the bike,
Right.
Or run over your feet.
Yeah, don't run over your cankle. Oh, dang, that's going to hurt.
Well, hell, y'all seen I ran over my damn foot on Spencer's bike last year coming through the pits. I thought I broke my ankle for sure. That was terrible.
Yeah,
I remember that.
I was gonna say, I'm sure y'all remember I was hopping along, limping along all weekend. Man, I still don't understand how I didn't break that thing.
I don't bend well, so hopefully I don't get nothing folded under no foot peg.
Yeah. Well, it was funny you just mentioned your dad. I was gonna say, what was the first thing the old man said to you when he seen you or got to you?
I mean, he was excited. He was shedding a couple tears, and he was happy and said, "I knew you could do it. Never doubted it." And I mean, he was just happy.
Well,
he really didn't say much. He just hugged me, and
You tell him I cried too. I cried with him. My old lady come out the garage and says, "What's going on?" I said, "He won it all." I was a hooting and a hollering. I bet everybody in my neighborhood was like, "What the fuck's going on over there?" Probably thought my kid crashed a 4-wheeler again. I was losing it.
I don't have a whole lot more. I mean, I do want to ask you, are you still got a day job, or what are you doing? You still working in your shop?
No, I still got a day job. I'm a pipe fitter, so I'm still doing that. I mean, Monday after the race, I flew home. I landed here at 9:00 and went to work.
Did you take Wally with you?
Oh yeah, I had to show my boss because
that's right.
It's kind of funny. I mean, my boss used to work with Pete Briggs and them back in the day doing pro stock. With Dave Schultz and John Meyer, so he was around that era.
Wow.
Damn, man, your whole life is surrounded by this stuff. You know what I mean?
I know. It's crazy.
Such a small world.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So I mean, I showed him the wallet. And he's like, "Yeah, that's cool. You know what? You know." He's like, "Brian, I really need you to get back to work. You'll have
That's what I was about to say. Get to work, kid.
Oh man, that's awesome.
He didn't buy you no damn cake and ice cream, man. What the hell?
What I mean, you got anything you want to say or important to let anybody know, or you just kind of going with the flow with us?
No, I'm just going with the flow. You know,
I got something for him.
Hanging out with my buddies.
That's
There you
right.
go.
If anybody that's listening ever wants to get a bike wired, Gaige can do it. Y'all already know that he done mine. Does a fabulous job. Might take him a while since he's a superstar pro stock motorcycle racer now, but he is the man at wiring. I'm actually going to probably take him other bike this winter just because it just looks better than my jobs. And I've never been a wiring fan, and I've told him already in text message, but everything he done works flawlessly off the trailer. Now things happen. It's like, it's going to be fine. Man, that first pass, I was ready for anything to go wrong, and everything went right. I'm like, man, Gaige is the man. He done a good job. So he does have a little side hustle. He does some, exhaust and stuff like that. So if you ever need anything like that, he can tend to that stuff for you. And what better way to get it than the points leader welding you a pipe up or wiring your motorcycle? My wiring job just now went way up in value. Way up.
Yeah. So did Gaige's prices, his shop prices.
Yeah, right.
Like I don't need somebody coming just to talk with me.
he gonna be signing the shrink wrap. There's my name, buddy. That's $10.
Yeah, thanks for the idea.
Yeah, there you go. Do you want this signed?
Yeah, that's the last line item on the bill. They're like, "What is this? What is an autograph?" And you're like, "Yeah, I signed your bike." Added an extra $100 to the bill. What in the?
I mean, people stand in lines in the summer for that baby this summer. You can get it just as easy as nothing. Put it on your motorcycle. Shoot, gotta be worth something.
Dustin is right. If y'all are living under a rock and you hadn't been following Gaige, make sure you follow him on Facebook and Instagram and all the good stuff, and check out some of the fabrication and bikes Gaige has worked on and built in the past, because it's great work for sure. And if there's anything that think he can help you out with, hit him up.
Just remember, he does have a regular job, and he probably don't get much sleep.
Sleep overrated.
I was gonna say, we know you don't get much sleep.
And I've been having to NyQuil myself to sleep the past few nights. Them 3 or 4 in the mornings and getting up at 7 for the birds. I'm done with that. Jesus.
Oh yeah, that's rough.
Yeah. Then you wake up all NyQuil head, as I call it. You're like, golly, I feel like I need to go back to bed. But anyway, man. I think that we aired out some good stuff with Gaige, and people got to know him, and they're going to hear a lot more about him, I'm positive, throughout this season. And
I agree 100%. Mr. Hollywood Herrera, do you got anything else you want to add?
No, I mean, I just like to thank you guys for the opportunity to be on the podcast with you guys.
Well, you're quite welcome. Yeah, and it's definitely, I feel like it's definitely more so from our side. I mean, I'm sure you're just kind of used to us giving you shit and blowing you up and all, but it definitely means a lot to us to come on the podcast. As Dustin and I just kind of started it on a whim and thinking like, well, we can talk about the school, and there's not really a podcast for it, so maybe people listen. But man, the response has been overwhelming. So we're just glad to be able to have you on and get some good interviews and stuff. And yeah, they're just excited. So thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule with all your.
If you go to an NHRA race, go see Gaige and get autographs. Say hi.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, I do have one more thing that you'll find quite funny. I feel like that whole Sunday evening after you won at the Gators, I was doing other stuff, and the whole time I'm thinking God, I hope nobody brings him an apple cider or anything. Don't give him apples.
Yeah, right?
I don't know why, dude, but I could not let that go the whole time. I was like, man, I hope nobody slips him a cider or something celebrating tonight. Oh man, but that's probably a Darnell tale for later on.
Yeah.
I was thinking, yeah, I was thinking that's what we need to do. We'll have that'll be the subscription only episodes when we get the Darnell stories going.
Oh God.
Yeah, I mean, y'all had to tell him. I can't.
I
tell
got
him.
some good ones. Yeah, we could go for.
man.
I could go hours on that stuff.
Yeah,
But man, we appreciate you coming on here and using your valuable time to talk with us, and probably say the same thing you said for the past 2 weeks. But
yeah.
we're just trying to get everybody out there to realize and understand that if you got a dream, chase it, because that's what life's about.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
For sure, for sure. Well, obviously, you know, we'll be rooting you on and cheering at all the races, but damn, I can't wait to see you at XDA for sure, buddy. So thanks again, and we'll talk with you soon.
Yeah, the next time when he wins, it's going to be winner, winner, bang, bang, shrimp for dinner.
That's right. That's right. All right, Gaige, thanks for coming on, man.
All right, thank you. See you guys soon.